What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today I've got a very special one for you. Probably the most asked video, our most requested knife on the channel right now is this Shirogorov F5 Silk Slim. You may have seen it in a number of comparisons. You know, it's essentially an F95. I did my best to clean it up today too, but this is an absolute fingerprint magnet because of how fine the milling is. But we're going to do a video on this one today. So sit back, relax, get a cup of coffee going, get a beer, a wine, or whatever you got going on. I know myself, I've got a cup of coffee here, so if I'm talking quickly, you'll know why. As a reminder, check out my website, BladeZilla.ca, where I have a lot of these knives, and actually this particular knife is that one on my banner. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's the F5 Silk Slim. In Canada, lots of stuff available. Check out the site. I've been bringing in more Microtechs and a lot of other cool stuff. So there you go, BladeZilla.ca for those who haven't checked me out. There you go. I also ship down to the States too. So let's get started on this knife. Some history on this guy. So I guess it's a custom division knife. It's a F95. For those of you who don't know, the F95 is Shirogorov's Sebenza. This particular generation predates the individual numbering, I believe, of the custom division knives. So I believe this one's actually, let me double check that, but I believe this one actually counts. It's I went around 400 or something. There we go. If you can look inside here. It's not, you're not going to see this. This is ridiculous, eh? If you look inside here, you might be able to see just on the very bottom of there, it'll say custom division. Okay, I'm going to crank up the ISO so you can actually see this. This is a temporary measure. I apologize about how bright this is, but anyway, you can see inside there, custom division. Okay, and then we have the, what do we got? Custom division 404. So hopefully you can see that, and I apologize for the lighting. I'll switch it right back here, but 404. So this is back when Shirogorov used to count up their custom division knives rather than kind of giving them individual numbers. So so much better. So when Shiro used to do their custom divisions, they used to count up, and I have another one of those exact same knives here. One of the first custom division knives that I ever got was this F95 NL, and I've done a video on this knife, but it too is one of those knives that on the heel, whether or not, I'm not going to go change the camera settings again, but same thing, custom division, and it is labeled, this is 437, 437, so I don't know exactly where they stopped counting, but it wouldn't be much more than this, because in my head I thought it was like 450, around that kind of markers where they stopped sequentially counting up serial numbers and then switched to the individual numbering. So another one, a Neon NL, and I'll compare these as well. But let me just take a look. I thought this one might be another one of that's numbered. Could be wrong. What am I seeing here? I think I see 649 on this one. Maybe I'm completely out to left. Maybe it's 349, 649. I can't tell. Another one that's individually numbered. And this is a very old custom division knife as well. So, you know, it's got to be in the 2017 range, something like that. And now we're 2024, so it goes back a while. Anyway, to totally go off track there, the F5 Silk Slim. Highly desirable, highly collectible. I believe there's only 30 of these out there as well, which is crazy because it's just such a well done knife. So some of its features, S90V blade, which you'll see here, roller bearings, which this particular one is probably the smoothest Shirogorov I've ever experienced in my entire life. Just absolutely incredible. Full titanium handles, and where the silk slim comes from is slim being the width, and silk is actually the patterning on it, because it is so fine it feels like silk. And I know if you're not in 4K, you might just see a bright titanium sheen to it where it's nice and smooth and whatnot, and that's great, but it is so refined in detail, it's actually quite incredible. And as you can see, my fingerprints are kind of getting all over this because it just picks them up when the milling's this fine. Just picks that up. On the reverse side here, a couple things to note. So the hardware is the standard Shirogorov bit. All three sizes here, so 1, 2, and 3 on the small little bits, or the on the flat bits, I suppose. We've got a clip that's attached internally with some stunning milling around the edge on it. That's done extremely well. Really old school design. The lock bar itself has the bend internally versus externally. And to kind of show you what I'm talking about, I thought I had that quantum blue floating around beside me. Is that the one? Yeah. So quantum blue custom division. As you can see, the lock bar has the cutout externally. Whereas on the old ones, they seem to be doing internal work. So on that F95 NL, here we go, same thing, internal. So I don't know when they started kind of making changes on that, but I think that, you know, visibly, it's old school, it looks incredible, and I think a lot of people really like it for that reason, because it's old school. You know, it has that appeal. You know, comparing this with a new knife like an Astrum, which we'll do, there's a lot of little things that the Astrum does better because, well, it's, you know, what, 6-8 years later, and you know, lots changed from their capability perspective. So, a couple things though we'll kind of wrap our heads around. So, you know, gone are the highlights around the pivot, right? Normally there's a ring there, that's not there. And we've got a nice blue anodized backspacer, which is terrific. Nice and simple. Nice thick lanyard hole as well. Pushed into the back, but from the side it disappears, right? Other than a little pigtail hanging out there, but still looks incredible. Done well, very consistent anodizing, no blemishes, nothing like that. Really cool. On the lock bar we have the screw external as well, and normally they're now pushing that in from the other direction on the inside. Still has the over travel stop, obviously, as you can see, which is, you know, pretty standard for an F95. I think they all have them, with few exceptions. But you have the nice cutout, the beveling and the milling, just the traditional design that made this F95 so good. You know, the lines where they kind of started to kind of grow off of these and really do some milling lines up here on most of the production knives. It just kind of became pretty normal for them. But when you're looking back on a piece of history, you know, you can kind of see where it all came from. Like, skeletonization internally is through the roof, but still very simple. And I haven't opened this knife up, but I've seen some inside, and it's a gorgeous knife internally, as you would expect, nothing less. I'll shine that light inside here, just in case the camera decides to work with me. You can see there's a pin holding the backspacer in. Some big, deep pockets all over the place. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. It is light, and I'm going to weigh it here. I can't see it being any more than high 3 ounce, 3.5, 4 ounce, probably 4 ounces, I'm guessing. But may as well get you guys a number because I can't find a whole lot of info on this one. 4.2. So 4.2 ounces, which is, you know, that's, you're in the ounce to weight ratio, right? So we like to always say, take the blade's length, which in this case is, you know, 4 inches essentially, 95 mil, And you know, that's what it should weigh. So maybe I should show you that actually. Eh? So coming in hot, 8 3/4 inch overall length, blade of 4 inches to the grind, and handle I'm guessing in that 4 3/4, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful size. Fits in your hand incredibly well. Jimping's gorgeous. It matches the back spacer as well, if I show you that. Right, that was the old school design they used to do, and they're kind of doing it on and off nowadays, where they match this pattern to the back, which is beautiful. As we go down the blade, you can see it's nice and thick. This is probably a 4mm, I'm guessing, blade. Nice and chonky boy in the middle. No reinforcement on the tip, so it's a little simpler of a grind. As we come down the side of the blade, we can see, you know, we've got some lines that swoop in over the Shirogorov, which I think has a little bit of blue to it. I don't know if you guys are going to pick that up on camera, but there's a little bit of anodized blue in that bear, which is cool. Custom Division logo, which is just a thing of beauty under high magnification. We've got a nice sharp edge on it. I don't know if they were doing mirrored edges back at this point, but nice sharp unused edge, which is about as good as it gets. On the lock bar itself, we have the, as I roll the knife up, I always like to show, well, look, that's still elevated. That design still exists today, that feature. So the lock bar, what I'm talking about here, is on this side. See how it sticks up from the side? Makes it so finding it super, super easy, super comfortable, and just a well done, well thought out design. Pocket clip is attached internally. I mentioned that earlier due to all the cool work that's done around the edges. Beautifully done. And I don't know, I probably didn't, I don't think you have to get rid of that back spacer to pull it out. Maybe you do. No, it's inside just below the back spacer. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's just sitting in there, which is nice. Hardware blank on the front, which is cool. I think, I haven't taken it apart, but based on looking at this, I'm kind of wondering if that is, if it has captive pivot. It might. It might, but I don't know. That might predate that whole technology. But it's awfully straight and square, so maybe. Clip's gorgeous. The clip sits on top of the frame, and this is, you know, previous before they started, you know, beveling out, obviously the bend in the lock bar, and then they'd kind of match that bend to a shelf where that clip actually sits on. So now it's just sitting right on top of the frame, which is fine. But a little piece of history, which is so beautiful. Obviously both designs on the sides of the flipper tab match with the bear, other than that little cutout for the bottom of the chin of the bear. You should be able to see that. And action, that's just off the charts. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know if you get better than this from a Shirogorov, including, I'll say it, the full customs. I don't know if you get better. It's so smooth. Like, it's just ridiculous. And probably made on equipment that's not as advanced. It's all designer skill and manufacturing skill. Like, it's just such a well done knife. Flipper design obviously has their standard 3 cuts into it. Beautiful. Good angle. It's forward of the center of the pivot, so it flies out nice and smooth, nice and quick. And I always like to show this for those that don't watch all my videos, but if I take the palmeo and look at how far back the flipper tab is. So when you're behind the pivot, it makes for a slower release. Think of it as pedaling a bigger gear on your bicycle. So the ratio goes up and it doesn't fly out as quick, so you can fail it a lot easier like that. The more you move that tab forward in front of it, it hammers out. Okay? So for this, it's just smooth, it's well tuned, super simple. Just a beautifully done design. Now, in terms of comparisons, well, let's grab a couple. We'll do this one at a time. I'm filming this on a Sunday here, so I'm in no rush. We can go Quantum Blue, Custom Division knife as well. Beautifully done. You know, lots of milling work. These are kind of two OGs, original gangsters. Obviously this is a little newer technology-wise. And you can see just in the finish of the blade, fit and finish is a lot more dialed. We'll grab the neon, or Hation in this case, which I just showed. Similar age. And now, remember the Hation is a carbon front handled version of the neon. Same thing. But, you know, technology-wise, you look at this guy, you see a lot of the same, you know, internal cutout on the lock bar. A little more flow to it. Kind of reminds me of the R20. You have the pivot rings there, which looks good. Wonder why they didn't put it on this, but yeah, looks good. Matching clip to the back spacer, and then the jimping as well, I believe, which is non-existent. So that, unfortunately, I can't cut out that air, but oh well. Super thick, fat swage on that as well, which is cool. We'll do the Stellar. I don't have a fancy Stellar, but I will do a standard Stellar, just to see the sizing. And then we'll get into the Vegas V cards, because why the heck not? Which is a little smaller design, Sinkovich design, highly desirable. Beautiful knife. Russian Overkill, you've probably seen this in a lot of the videos, and did some comparison on the Arctic Overkill as well. Beautiful. Has a very similar profile in terms of the micro milling that collects fingerprints. If you're familiar with this knife, the milling on this is even smaller by comparison. So if you like this, you're going to love this. We'll do the Kami, or Kami. Another super cool knife. In that it has an asymmetric grind on the blade. And if we look at that, if it wants to take over the focus. So look at the blade. See how thick and tall the shoulders are here? Now if I flip that over, look how it changes. That's the asymmetric grind. So sick, so cool. I've done a video on this, I think it was actually this knife. I can't remember, and I talked how cool it is and how undervalued I think that knife is. The Sinkovich Bio. Beautiful. This one is the dark version. Swoopy, beautiful knife. Love it as well. And then I think I already showed the Pero. No, I didn't show the Pero, sorry. The Pero and the, where are we here? The Sigma. Big swoopy beast. These are all kind of the same size. But, you know, if you like more of a traditional look of a knife, you'll love the Sigma. Pero is more of a flipper, beastly, you know, lightweight, super cool knives. And then I showed the F95 NL. I may as well put that one down below as well. It's going to look bigger now, but may as well have an extra knife that's on the screen than nothing at all. And then that Dr. Death. And then let me dig out the Astrum here out of its little wrapped cocoon and put these guys away. Everyone wants to see that Astrum lately, it seems like, which I get. So let's put this down. So let's pull that Astrum out here. It's kind of their new sexy model. So there's your Astrum. Super cool knife, and to be honest, it's almost like a little blend of, in my opinion, kind of like a bigger neon and mixed with the size of an F95. I don't know, it kind of puts it into its own territory. You know, it's got all the new features of all the Shirogorovs, all the micro milling, the captive pivot system, the apron, the milling, which is just incredibly well done. Super tight tolerances, back spacer's beautiful, nice matched clip. And then look at this, look at the tolerances on that blade. Like, ridiculous. But comparing, you know, Custom Division Astrum to, you know, an 8-year-old F5 Silk Slim, it's like looking at a Ferrari compared to like a race car. Like an older race car that's tuned and beautifully done. They're just two different beasts. And the Custom Division Astrum, you know, Magna Cut versus S90V, and it's just, the technology's changed. Is it better? Not really. A lot of people still prefer this. Some people still prefer that. I prefer both, which is why I still have both. Beautiful knife. Can't wait. I'll have to do a video on this. You may have already seen it by now, but a lot of these knives kind of come and go at certain times, and when I have a lot of custom division knives kicking around, I tend to kind of group them together and do some videos. And unfortunately, there's another knife that's bigger than these, the 111, which I think I still have a 111 here. Let me just dig it out. This is the Thai bronze, which is a big beast as well. Big knife. Same kind of, well, a little bit, I think it's a little bit newer than the F5 Silk Slim. Not by much, though. They may still be counted manually. I'd have to look at this particular one. Let me grab that light. I thought they were numbered. Yeah, these are individually numbered. So CD 1908-33, I think this one says 38. I can't see. But yeah, comes from an age where they obviously made the jump and started manually keeping track of the serial numbers. Big beast on this guy as well. Beautiful knife. A little heavy for a lot of people, but the new 111 Starship, if you've seen that video, I think I've put that up by now, is also, I think it's 6 ounces instead of 7, so they've cut it down. But where to go from here on the F5 Silk Slim? Why is it called the F5? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I know that the full custom version is called an F7, and you know, a lot thicker backspace, or big chonky bish of a knife, and they're like the grails for a lot of people, myself included. I've never seen an F7 in the flesh. I'd like to. But right now they're just so cost prohibitive, and if you can even take a swing at one, like you're looking at 30 grand US. So maybe that might have something to do with the F5 being not a 7, I don't know. Which doesn't make sense because the F3 is a different knife. So anyway, they may just call it the F5 for the sake of calling it an F5. But beautiful knife, nice thick backspacer as well. But it's a very, like, obviously because it's the Silk Slim, there is a silk, and this is just a much thinner, more well done version in my opinion. You know, it's the silk is more of like a you know, a seashell or kind of that generation, whereas this is a little tiny bit newer. Not by much. Technology, fit and finish, just incredible. So I think I'm going to make this one quick today. I don't have a whole lot of other knives to kind of compare it to. I already did the weight. I did the measurements, did some comparisons, talked about the jimpings, beautiful. The features of the actual handle, I guess, the nice smooth kind of profile. I guess I could compare. Do I have an F95 within reach here of like a production? I kind of want to see if it made it into that. Ooh, I don't think I have any F95s within reach that I can show, but that profile is legendary. Likely hasn't been changed a whole lot, although it does look a little rounded in the middle. Nice big bump there, which is nice. Fits your hand nicely. I'm an extra large glove, and I could have a 6th finger and still have room for it. So just a beautiful, like I said, it's the Sebenza of Shirogorov, that they've made countless versions of it over the years, and it continues to get better and better. You've probably seen my video. I did an F95 NL Gen 5. I've done a few videos on that now, as well as the F95 NL Custom Division and with Vanex. And that would have been a cool video. I think I had both at the same time when I did that video. So if you want to watch a comparison of this to that, that'd be a good video to pick up and watch. This is the Custom Division F95 NL, which is already up on the channel. But otherwise, I'm just trying to appease you guys by putting some of this content out, because I use this one all the time as a comparison as an F95, and I couldn't believe I hadn't done a video on it, because I've had it in the knife case now for quite a while. but just never occurred to me to do a video on this beautiful frame lock folder. So, little piece of history from Shiro's, and there's not many floating around, so if you can get a shot at one, you know, I'm filming this in March 2024. You're probably looking at 4,000 and up, 4,500, maybe 5. Pretty standard. The old school stuff seems to be kind of going north of 5 now, 5.5. So you know, they're not cheap, and when there's one of 30 versus one of 50, they're even more in demand. So, you know, when I got this, I can't remember what I paid. It was north of 4. And yeah, you're probably still probably closer to 5 now, which is crazy. Just the demand's going through the roof on a lot of these fancy custom divisions, and you know, it's collectible. So anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap things up there. If you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, which is where you are right now. Hit that thumbs up button. And check out the store, BladeZilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this channel are available to purchase. This one probably not, but you never know. You never know if one pops up, and you know, I'll grab it and bring it in and throw it in the store. So, beautiful knife, highly desirable piece of history in the Shirogorov world, and one that I'm telling you right now, you know, you would not regret having in the knife case in any way, shape, or form. Alright guys, have yourself a great week, enjoy it, and we'll catch you soon. Peace.